tonight we dive into a truth that's been buried in stone and shadow. A story not just about ancient architecture, but what it might still be doing to our minds. Before we begin, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy exploring the strange, the hidden, and the forgotten with me. Drop a comment below with where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. It is always surreal seeing how this strange little corner of YouTube brings people together across time zones. Now, dim the lights. Maybe put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Let the static settle. Let's drift into tonight's hidden parallel. What if ancient temples weren't just structures, but machines? Machines designed not for industry, but for the mind. Designed with geometry most people today couldn't even draw. Who were they building it for? Across thousands of years, civilizations rose and fell, yet they left behind clues. Structures built with impossible precision, aligned to stars, carved with codes. Why? What were they really building? And more importantly, this is the story of sacred architecture, and the secret it may still hold, that consciousness itself can be shaped, tuned, and elevated through the spaces we inhabit. It is about how our ancestors may have understood something we've forgotten, that the built world is a map of the inner world, and the greatest temples ever built were blueprints of the human soul. This isn't just about pyramids or temples. Let's begin. Ratios like the golden mean, 1 to 1.618, repeat over and over again. They mirrored its deeper code, as if the temple wasn't just a building, but a bridge between earth and cosmos, between human and divine. Circles, triangles, spirals, shapes we also find in nature, in flowers, in seashells, in galaxies, and in us. Let's start with what we can see. Aligned to solstices, equinoxes, lunar cycles. They were calendars, maps, and possibly more. The Great Pyramid of Giza is aligned almost perfectly to true north, within 3/60ths of a degree. How is that possible? With no satellites, no modern tools? Around the world, ancient structures are aligned with stunning accuracy. Angkor Wat, the temples of Teotihuacan. The chamber amplifies and sustains sound in specific frequencies. Frequencies that just so happen to match human brainwaves. Across continents, ancient architects were building monuments that line up with the stars. But Giza isn't alone. Look at Stonehenge. These weren't random buildings. They were placed with intention. Speak a word in the oracle room, and it vibrates throughout the underground temple. The part of the brain linked to insight, higher thought, and awareness. The sound doesn't just echo. It enters you, alters how your body feels. Shamans would stand in the darkness while water thundered through, designed to alter perception. Many of them were built using a design system known today as sacred geometry. That entering these spaces was an act of rewiring your perception. And finally, you arrive in the sanctum, a place of stillness, harmony. These ancient builders didn't just imitate nature, but there's something else happening here, something deeper. The Temple of Luxor, when mapped, aligns with the human nervous system. Columns match vertebrae. Halls match chakras. Coincidence? They were interactive. They changed how people felt. Or a blueprint of consciousness? Because some of these spaces don't just line up with the stars. They line up with us. If geometry maps space, sound maps time. The stones at Baalbek, Lebanon, weigh hundreds of tons and were placed with precision we couldn't replicate easily today. And many ancient temples were built to resonate, or an earlier human civilization that vanished. In the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid, hum a note and the walls respond. Stories of civilizations that reached unimaginable heights and then fell. Theta waves, the state of dreaming, deep meditation, and flow. Is it a coincidence? In Peru, the temple complex of Chichen de Huantar contains carved canals that channel water, to mimic roaring noise, preserved through secrecy, embedded into modern power structures. Why? Are they copying beauty or channeling influence? In Malta, the hypogeum is another acoustic marvel. Modern scientists studying these spaces found something astonishing. The resonant frequencies stimulate the prefrontal cortex, not computers, not machines, but temples, monuments, keys made of stone. Is because we've stopped building structures that unify. Were these sacred sites tuning devices? Machines designed to shift consciousness using sound, space, and energy? Many believe so. And the most shocking part? This knowledge may still be embedded in the stones. If you want to understand a culture, look at what it builds, not just what it worships. Temples across the world were constructed with clear initiation paths, labyrinth-like layouts, dark chambers followed by open light. Some believe these were symbolic journeys. Others believe they were literal tools for psychological transformation. You begin in darkness, confused, lost. You follow the path. Then light emerges. Columns grow taller. The ceiling lifts. The architecture isn't just symbolic. It induces a psychological journey. Ancient Egypt had temples dedicated not to gods, but to mind. Many believe ancient builders understood that space, shape, and sound weren't neutral. And more importantly, they may have changed what people were capable of. So who built these temples? Mainstream archaeology credits ancient civilizations. But the deeper you look, the murkier it gets. Pumapunku in Bolivia features granite blocks cut with microscopic precision, as if the builders had tools beyond what we imagine. Myths from all over the world tell similar stories, that the knowledge was given by sky beings, gods, stars, Atlantis, Lemuria, the Zep Tepi of Egypt. But maybe they didn't vanish entirely. Maybe they left behind tools, and maybe those keys still work. If we know how to use them, you may think this knowledge is lost, forgotten. But look closely. The U.S. Capitol, the Vatican, city grids, Masonic lodges, the same symbols, the same alignments, the same ratios. It's as if the ancient knowledge didn't disappear. It went underground. Look at Washington, D.C.'s layout from above. Look at the angles, the compass rose, the sacred proportions. Even major banks and government buildings often include domes, columns, star maps. Architecture shapes behavior. But what if it also shapes belief, thought, consciousness itself? What we surround ourselves with surrounds our mind. And maybe the reason modern society feels so fragmented. So what if ancient architecture wasn't just symbolic? What if it was functional? A user interface for the human soul? We once built temples that guided minds, that amplified thought, that initiated transformation. Now we build boxes, cubes, blank space, and we wonder why something feels missing. But the stones are still there. The frequencies still resonate. The geometry still fits. The map is waiting for us to walk it again. The hidden truth is this. Consciousness isn't just inside you. It echoes in space, in form, in sound. And our ancestors may have left behind the most powerful tool of all, a world built to awaken us. Follow for more stories carved in stone and remembered in silence.